Hello everyone, Wade from High Tech Legion here, and with over 1,000 videos uploaded, if you haven't seen it here, you may not have seen it anywhere. In this video, I'm going to be giving you an overview and showing you the component installation for the Fractal Node 804 dual chamber case. It's a pretty unique offering that features mini-ITX and micro-ATX mounting and has two separate chambers for your components to separate the hot components from the cooler components so that you get better cooling, and you also have a lot of opportunity for liquid cooling with this chassis design. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Fractal Design Node 804 chassis. So here we have the front of the Fractal Design Node 804 case. As you can see, it is a very nice simplistic design with a black brushed aluminum front panel here, and just one little light here to indicate that it's on. You've got the Fractal Design logo, and you've also got some mesh down here to keep the thing, keep venting air into the case while it's being run. On the other side here, we've got our side window, and you can see it's a nice large side window, so you're going to see everything in the case, no problem. Then on the rear of it, we've got two 120mm fans here that are going to be taking air into the case, and we've got 5 expansion slots. Our power supply mounting location right in the middle here is where our I/O panel is going to sit for our motherboard, because like I said before, this is a dual chamber design, so your motherboard is going to be on this side with your expansion cards. You got your power supply and hard drives on the opposite side there. On the other side of the case, it is a nice basic black finish, and the only thing you can see here is you've got the front panel connectors for USB 3.0, our power button, headphone jack, microphone jack, and a little slot load area here so that you can put a small slot load CD drive in the front panel of this. So now let's take a look at the inside of the case real quick, and then we'll get on to the component install. So here we have all the side panels off, including the top panel that comes off of the case. And we are looking at the left chamber here with the hard drive mounts, and so this is hard drive mounts that can hold up to 8 3.5-inch hard drives. You've got 120mm fan on this side exhausting air. You've got 2 potential spots to put another 2 120mm fans. Some Velcro here on the bottom for your cable management needs, because you're going to be running your power supply cables through to the other side where your motherboard sits. Spot for your power supply, which also has a filter on it so that you are not sucking dust into your PSU. And if you wanted to remove these 2 hard drive cages, say you are only using a couple drives, there are other locations that you can mount your hard drives, and you can put a 240mm radiator on this side for liquid cooling. Here is the front panel of the drive bay, and this is where your slim optical drive could go. You've got your connections for your front panel here, and then 2 locations that you can mount 2.5-inch SSDs or hard drives. Now I'm going to flip this around and just show you the other side. Here I just wanted to go back to the top panel a little bit. As you can see, like we saw on the outside, we've got a whole bunch of mesh here, but also on the opposite side we've got this angled plastic underneath that allows the airflow to go into the radiators. If you are using the top of the case with radiators, you really won't have too much of an issue getting air through them. It may impede it a little bit, but not enough that it's going to really matter in your temperatures. Also just want to show you the accessories that you get with this case before we get into the component install. So here we've got some rubber grommets. What these will be used for is for your hard drive mounting. You've got all your various screws, including a standoff tightening and loosening tool. They give you some zip ties for your cable management needs, and the optical drive bracket for putting the slim optical drive in the front panel. Little Fractal Design catalog, as well as the Node 804 user's guide, which does have a builder's guide in it if you need a little help with where the components go. So now let's get into the component installation. I will be using a mini-ITX motherboard and showing you this with a graphics card in it, as well as a 3.5-inch hard drive and a 2.5-inch hard drive. The first thing I've done is I've installed my power supply into the left chamber. Standard install, put the power supply in and put the 4 screws into the back of it. I did put the fan down so that it is sucking fresh air from the outside of the case into it through the dust filter that's on the bottom. And I just routed the cables that I would need on this side through the cable routing hole right here, so that then I can install my motherboard and hook up those connections without a problem. Next, you really have to get your front panel connectors installed first. So I did put the front panel and the top back onto the case so that I could get all those connected, especially when we're looking at a mini-ITX build. With a micro-ATX build, you'll have a little bit more room to work with as far as the PCB, so things will be spread out a little bit further. So I got all my front panel connectors hooked up. I'm going to hook up a couple SATA connections so that I have those ready to go when I install the hard drives, and then I'm going to install my heatsink onto the motherboard, and everything on the motherboard should be all set at that point. So here we have our all-in-one liquid cooler unit installed on the processor to keep it nice and cool. As you can see, I also connected up the fan controller, which is pretty simple. You connect the 3 fan connections to it, and then you connect your SATA power connector to it to run it, and it's just the switch on the back for high, low, medium. And next I'm going to install my PCI Express graphics card into the system, and then we will put some hard drives in it and fire it up. So here we have our PCI Express graphics card installed, simply done by pulling the 2 thumb screws here and taking the 2 back plates out, which are reusable. And then we can slide the card into the PCI Express slot and connect up our power to it. Next, I'm going to install a 3.5-inch drive and a 2.5-inch drive into the system and hook it up, and then you will be set to go. So I decided to mount my hard drives on the bottom over here. Since I was using a mini-ITX board, there was plenty of room. So I put the 2.5-inch drive here and a 3.5-inch drive here. Pretty simple mounting mechanisms, 4 screws for the 2.5-inch drive, and 4 rubber grommets and 4 screws for the 3.5-inch drive. Then I just connected up my SATA power cables, and we're good to go with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this machine up, I'm going to run some benchmarks on it, and I'm going to show you those benchmarks. So here we have the completed build for the Fractal Design Node 804 dual chamber case. I hope you enjoyed this review, including the benchmarks. And for the full review, please see www.hightechlegion.com, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter pages. Take care.